Box, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. On today's show, we are interviewing Bill, a lifetime gamer and from rolling dice in D&D to designing his own trading card games. He's also the founder of Nimue Innovation Studio. He has brought Table TCG to life, which is a new game that is designed for balance and strategy. So in this episode, we'll talk about his journey so far in the tabletop game industry and some of the things he's currently working on. And thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Bill.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So before we dive into Roundtable TCG, can you kind of share with our audience, like what made you even want to get into the tabletop game industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've been doing tabletop gaming, mostly RPGs and stuff. I started when I was about 10 with Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and had a lot of fun playing that. Did that for a while with a lot of my friends through junior high and high school. And at the time, I was mostly the dungeon master. So I was responsible for figuring out what modules we were going to run or creating my own, which wasn't that frequent when I was 10 and 12. But as I got older, I began to make my own. And around the time that I was in college, I got introduced to a bunch of different systems, including Pendragon and Marvel and Top Secret, a bunch of others. And playing with my college roommates and my friends and there, we really explored a bunch of stuff. And again, I was usually the DM. So I was always kind of doing this in the background, as well as writing computer games for Commodore 64 or for PC or for whatever. So I did a lot of things in that space.
Okay.
And then as the years have progressed, I dabbled in things like modding Doom and Quake and that kind of stuff. And really is about, 10, 15 years ago, I started to look at doing a trading card game because I got introduced to Magic in about 1994, like right when Legends came out.
That's early.
So yes, very early. And we began playing it. We loved it. I became a DCI level 2 judge. That's how hardcore we were about this. And we ended up, we ended up playing D&D, playing Magic and seeing how it was evolving. I picked up like BattleTech and Pokemon cards and those kinds of things. And we Legend of the Five Rings, those kinds of games in the mid 90s. And when I saw kind of what was going on with Magic, I kind of was getting disappointed. It felt like it was just getting ponderous. Too many rulings, too many abilities. I mean, they're trying to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
But by the same token, you really couldn't come into it clean and not be overwhelmed. And so, and then also they began to change it and this is even before Commander became out as the most popular style that people are playing now. But before that, it was a lot of pre-constructed decks. There was not a lot of variety. And one of the things that we loved about early Magic was opening a box and saying, what's in here? And then going, oh my God, that's so cool. I've never seen that before. Of course, remember when we started playing, there wasn't really a web. So we couldn't just go up to Gatherer and say, hey, what are the cards that are in this expansion? That didn't exist. We had to download card lists off of Usenet and wait for the rulings updates from various and sundry people. That was a very sporadic engagement. And you didn't know what cards were in what set until you collected all the cards in that set. So,
Yeah.
we'd buy boxes of boosters and open them up and look at all the cards and go, hey, do we have a complete set? There's 300 in this set. We've got 295. I guess we're missing some, But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And we really enjoyed that exploration and discovery. And as Magic was evolving, it was really going toward, hey, here's a pre-constructed deck. Here's another pre-constructed deck. Here's another one. And if you want any variety, you had to go to booster packs. And I wasn't that interested in that. So I began thinking about sort of merging a couple of things that I loved. The Arthurian legends and trading card games from that era, that style. And so that's where I really kind of got involved in this process of getting a game going like this. And it was off and on for 10 years to do it.
Oh, that take you a while. Okay.
Yeah. And then, like I said, about 3 or 4 years ago, we started to coalesce people together to bring the idea to fruition. But it was, it was something that I was just kind of working on. I would spend, I could have a burst of energy, hyper attentiveness to something for, to this for, 2 months. And I do a whole bunch of cards and I print them and I cut them and, start playing and getting test decks and all that. And then I would get bored of it and I would go do something else. And then I would come back to it 2 years later and go, oh yeah, I want to do this. And so then it was like, really about 10 years of that. And then I finally said, I'm tired of this being this thing running in the background of my brain. I want to get it out of my head and onto paper and actually play this game. And so that's when we started really focusing on trying to bring it to fruition. But like I said, in essence, I've been doing this at some degree for my entire life. So it's been, over 4 decades now that I've been doing something in this vein.
I see. What would you say is the biggest challenge looking back of building this game from scratch?
That's interesting. So the biggest thing I would say is that making a trading card game is very difficult. A lot of people want to go for an ECG or an LCG. You're like, just give everybody all the cards and call it good. And then that's like, hey, it'll be perfect. And I didn't like that because I liked the discovery part. I liked, you opening a deck and going, oh my God, this is so cool. So for me, that was not really an option. So trying to figure out how the rarities were going to work, all of the math behind it is very challenging.
So for your deck, is each deck different than all the other? Oh,
yes, absolutely.
Hard. Okay.
Yes.
That's hard to set up.
Yeah, every one of these decks is different. They are unique.
Yeah.
They're actually handcrafted by my wife, and what she does is that we have 4 different rarities and 5 different card types, and she picks and chooses the right blend of all of the different things. You get the right amount of knights and quests and redirects and all that stuff, and then and with the appropriate rarities, and then that all goes into a box, and then that's playable from the box, which is one of the things that we were really concerned about, because old school Magic wasn't like that, right? Just a bunch of random cards of different rarities. And so you can end up with a whole bunch of red spells and a whole bunch of forests, and you're like, I can't do anything with this. Our game, because our lands, like this one with this farm, are all colorless, quote unquote, resource points, which is up here in the corner. And they are able to be spent for anything. So you get a full set of all the lands and then regions, which are what you're playing for, because we're not allowing you to attack the other player or the other player's creatures. You can't you're not trying to deal damage and all that stuff. That's not part of the game. It's all about controlling the battlefield strategically with how you build your deck, and then tactically with how you play your hand and the cards on the table to try to conquer different regions of Britain. So actual places in Britain, we've broken up England and Wales into 30 different spaces with differing renown based on how important they are. And you play for 5 regions, and whoever has the most renown when the last region's captured wins the game. So from what was difficult to make the game, that was the hardest part, was figuring out all the math behind that stuff. How many cards are we going to have? How many rares are we going to have? Trying to get all those things worked out. The other side of that coin was trying to get a team that could do this stuff. So like, I'm not a good graphic designer. I'm just I'm not an artist. I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
So finding somebody who could do that was a major hurdle. But I had somebody, when I was advertising for artists for the game, who contacted me and was like, hey, this sounds really interesting, this ad that you placed. And I'm not an artist, but I'm a graphic designer. Do you need one of those? I'm like, yes, I do.
Okay.
We got really lucky that we managed to coalesce a team together to bring this to fruition, to at least to the Kickstarter. And, we had somebody on the team who do a bunch of artists that we tried reaching out to a bunch of people through her. She also contributed a bunch of art to the game. We also had the graphic designer. We had people who were willing to help out with, doing demos and conventions and stuff before we launched the game. All of that stuff would not have happened if we hadn't had people who volunteered to step up and help us out. So that was the other side. If you don't have that kind of a support structure, then you're going to have some troubles. Everything after that is like the second part of the triathlon. It's kind of how I phrase it, which is the first part is, hey, can we get this thing to a Kickstarter or to a launch? And you need like one set of skills for that. You need a whole bunch of people who can do the graphic design and the conventions and the communications and
we need a whole team.
You do.
Yeah.
And then some of those people though are like, okay, you get done with that, you launch the game. Congratulations. And they're like, okay, great. Give me my medal. I'm not interested in doing the sales part. And so that's the bicycling part of your game, is trying to get it to people and all that stuff. And that requires the marketing and the advertising and the knowledge of the channels. And are you going to go retail or distributor or direct to consumer, all of that stuff. And that's the whole different kind of race, which is, that's where we are right now. And that's a whole different set of skills and different team, in essence, than what you had from before. So it definitely, if your business model is not make a Kickstarter and then sell to the Kickstarters, and then I want to sell to other people, then you have to move into that second phase, and that's really, I think, where the challenge comes in. We did have somebody from Foam Brain tell us that TCGs are the hardest segment of the hardest market. Card games are the hardest.
It is pretty hard because there's
the hardest.
Because there's a lot of big players in the TGC market, like you mentioned, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, and also Pokemon. Those three kind of dominate 95% of the market share.
Yes.
So
even Lorcana and Star Wars Unlimited are having problems, and like those are incredible IPs.
Yeah, but they are still couldn't getting the traction. So
and they're struggling. I mean, I was seeing Lorcana competitions and stuff like tournaments, and they'd get like 8 people to show up. And it was surprising. Pokemon's still getting 40.
Yeah.
So it is amazing to me how strong and vibrant the communities that are supporting Magic and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh are, because I see them all the time playing. And occasionally I'll see a Flesh and Blood, or occasionally I'll see something else. I've never seen Grand Archive in the wild, for instance, or Primal, or there's a whole bunch of TCGs out there, and unfortunately I'm just not seeing them being played by the general public, and they're good games. They're just not making they're getting the traction that I think that they deserve.
But now looking back, is that something you'll do differently if you were to create the Roundtable TGC again?
No, I would still do a TCG. I might reset my expectations for it.
Okay.
And rather, I mean, we were talking offline before. My original business plan was sell to retailers, right? Direct to retail. And I went to Gamma Expo right before we launched. So we had just placed our order for all of our cards
Yeah.
right before the end of the year. And then in 2024, I went to Gamma Expo with my daughter. And our first session right out of the box was a meeting, a roundtable with your retailers. And they're like, yep, we're not going to buy your product if we don't know who you are. So don't even bother. And we're like, ow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe we can do distributors. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
plan B, distributors. And they can't, the next hour was them abusing us horribly about what we weren't going to do. And
Yeah.
so then we had to like, okay, what's plan C, D, E? I guess we're on plan P now. I don't know where we are. But yeah, we did have to change our expectations and go with the B2C model.
Yeah.
I would definitely have shifted some of the things that we did. I think I was hoping for more traction than we got.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of cards,
Mhm.
but even then we don't have a lot compared to what other card games are doing.
Mhm.
We printed like 160,000 cards.
Oh, whoa, that's a lot.
And
Okay. Mhm.
that's small. That's like a
Compared to other
minuscule
TCG.
run
Yeah.
in
Okay.
the card industry.
Mhm.
So that was like, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it was very much. I mean, I guess I would have changed that. We would have not printed nearly as many,
Mhm.
probably a third as many,
Yeah. I see.
and we would have focused a lot more on using some of the revenue we got from the Kickstarter
Mhm.
to advertise, market, that kind of stuff. So it would have changed our approach.
Yeah.
We invested our money from the Kickstarter into the cards.
Mhm.
And our expectation was we're going to fulfill the promises we made during the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And then we're going to sell the cards, and that's going to fund future development of the game.
Mhm.
And that has not happened.
Oh.
So that's where we are
That's tough.
definitely having the biggest challenges right now. And again, it's because I don't have the team to
Mhm.
do the advertising, marketing, and especially the money, because that's the biggest
Yeah.
part. And when we're going to these cons and stuff, we're just simply not. We're
Yeah.
not even making back what it costs to go
Mhm.
from the sales. And if I lived in Columbus or something, it would be one thing, or Louisville,
Yeah.
but I don't. And so I have to schlep this stuff across the
Yeah.
country. I've got to get airlines and hotels and the whole
I
nine
think
yards.
my recommendation, if I'm in your shoes, is you just need to do a lot of like marketing that won't scale. For example, like reaching out to influencer individually, doing social media posts daily, and a lot of the things that's harder to scale, but that's something that could potentially build up some momentum back up again. And I also want to talk about other product that you also have besides the TDC.
Yes,
So can we also talk about? I think you also have a product called Sudaku. Can you call?
I do. We have Sudoku.
Mhm.
This is one of our trays. We call them a coop.
Yeah.
And each player gets one, and it's a duck themed Sudoku game.
Okay.
So you have these tiles. You get 9 of these tiles. They're 3x3, so 9 squares. Just like a Sudoku board, you lay it out in a 3x3 configuration, and we have the numbers 0 through 9, so it's a little bit broader than a regular traditional Sudoku.
Yeah.
But each player has 3 duck tiles, and you place them on the board in order. But it has to follow the rules of Sudoku, meaning you can't put a 3 in a row, column, or box that has a 3 in it, right? Standard stuff.
Yeah.
If you place the last tile to complete a row, column, or a box, then those ducks leave the board and they join your flock.
Mhm.
And the first player to get 25 or more ducks in their flock wins the game.
Oh,
So it's about how can I position my placements so that I'm blocking my opponents from being able to put a tile there, but I can put one there. And then complete that row and then get those 9 ducks in my pond.
I see.
And we have 2 different versions. We've got this one, which is the standard version.
Yeah.
And then we have an elegance version, which is all black and gold, and it looks very classy.
I see.
And we're trying to get a publisher for that, actually. So that's one of those things that we're looking at it right now. All of this is 3D printed.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so we're selling pre-release versions. So if anybody wants one, they can order one, and then that we will print it and send it to them.
How about just
And they
run
get
a Kickstarter campaign for it instead of finding a publisher?
well. So that's the thing, is that the Kickstarter would be okay. Now we have to fulfill,
Yeah,
and that means working with manufacturers, working with imports and tariffs. It
yeah,
means
yeah.
working
True.
with consumer protection, safety testing, and
Yeah, yeah.
all of those things I have zero experience in. So unlike my trading card game, I recognize I don't know this stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to find somebody who does and
Mhm.
have them do this. I mean, our goal is actually, in essence, to put it in a bag like this. I
Ah,
mean, it
okay.
is a very portable game. You just stick it in a bag, and then you take it with you. You can stick it in a coat pocket or something and just take
Yeah.
it. So it's very portable,
Mhm,
travel friendly.
mhm.
But it is, like I said, doing mass production like that. I don't have any experience doing it, and I don't. I am going to screw it up. So rather than
Yeah.
do that with other people's money, I would
Mhm.
like to have somebody who has experience doing that,
I
and
see.
also with the sales and marketing aspect, who could try to get this into a Barnes and Noble or a
Mhm,
Target or
mhm,
whatever, or even Amazon, and
mhm,
be able to sell it that way. That
mhm,
means I don't have to 3D print every single copy,
mhm,
which is
mhm.
what we're doing right now. It takes about a day to print a copy
Oh, that's
of the
hard to
game.
scale. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, there's 120 tiles of the numbered tiles. And then we also have these geese tiles that are for variants. We actually have a couple of variants. One is geese are wild, which you just put them on the board,
Yeah.
and it makes it easier to complete rows and columns and boxes, because there's one goose in every row, column, or box.
Got it.
There's
Okay.
another one called geese are a menace,
Mhm,
where when you draw a goose out of the box, out of the bag, you then place it immediately, and depending on how you've oriented it, because it's got that little, it's got its beak, you
mhm,
can orient it any way on the board. And then let's say I put him
mhm,
on this way, all the ducks in this row go back to the bag. He chases them off because geese are a menace.
mhm.
So it really changes up the game and the board. And so things that are like really close to being done suddenly aren't, because all the ducks are back in the bag. And then we have a third variant that we've got, which is kind of the goose is on the loose.
Mhm,
And the goose is trying to go around capturing ducks. He can move one space every turn, and the other players are playing regular Sudoku. So they're trying to get to 25 or more ducks.
mhm,
And the goose player is trying to step on ducks and collect 25 or more of them. So
mhm,
it's two competing um, goals. All of the players are trying to get the 25 ducks in their flock, and the goose has a completely different goal,
mhm.
that is playing and messing around with the other people's game. So it's an interesting variant on it, and my son came up with it actually.
I see. Okay. Okay.
We
Okay.
were playing Sudoku so much, and he's like, "Can we try this?" And we're like, "Yeah, absolutely." Oh my god, that is fun. It
I see.
is
I see. I
it
see.
is bizarre, and
Mhm,
it's so fun, and it's a pretty fast paced game. Takes
mhm.
about 20 to 30 minutes to play a game usually, unless you've got very competitive people.
Mhm.
Then it can take a little longer, because people are going to be like really careful about whether they're going to.
About what I
I'm not
do.
going to
Yeah.
give you the option
Yeah.
to try to capture row until there's no space left on the board. If I have to.
I see. I see. So now looking ahead for the next 3 years, what
Yes.
is your vision for the company going forward? Like,
Mm.
do you have any more product on the line, or what are you planning to work on?
Yeah. Well, so one of the things we're trying to do, obviously, is increase visibility for Roundtable.
Hmm.
We want Roundtable to be um, available, accessible for people to play, and
Yeah.
we would like to see more play of it. So we've actually considered doing a tournament next year somewhere like at Origins or Gen Con,
Oh, okay.
doing a
Yeah.
world tour tournament, pro tour
Yeah.
kind of thing,
Mhm.
sealed deck kind of thing. So you show up, pay $25, you get a deck and you get 2 booster packs and make the best deck you can. And then whoever wins might win Excalibur. We're
Yeah,
spitballing. I don't know.
I see.
And so yeah, so we're trying to really try to get to a place where we can showcase Roundtable
Mhm.
more effectively.
Okay.
Again, we're working on trying to get something for Sudoku, get a publisher that we can really just kind of hand things off to,
Mhm.
and let them shepherd it through the process, and we can guide it and get it to its final stage.
Mhm.
And then we do have some expansions in mind
Yeah.
for Roundtable. We haven't really done anything about them yet. We one of them is a collaborative mode,
Mhm.
so that everybody at the table is working together
Yeah.
to compete against the game.
Mhm.
Which is kind of funny because when we started, like we've been really getting back into board games. We played board games when we were kids, and then kind of got out of it. And other than like Magic or D&D, we didn't really
Mhm.
play many board games, and the space exploded, and
Mhm.
we just kind of missed a lot of it.
Ah,
But one
I
of
see.
our favorite games to play is a game called Cthulhu Death May Die.
Okay.
And in that game, it's a collaborative game. The players are investigators and they're trying to stop Cthulhu or whomever from
Yeah.
coming back. And so you have to work together to try to do that. And
Mhm.
we love the collaborative games. And so we found it not completely unironic that we built our first game was competitive. So
Mhm.
we're like, wait a second, how can we make this collaborative? And so we've been working through it. I have ideas about how I want to do it. We just have not been able to make a whole lot of progress on it.
Mhm.
But that's one small chunk that we're considering investing some time and energy into getting. The other thing is
Mhm.
our first expansion to Roundtable, which would be about the Fae.
Mhm.
And the Fae are the fairies. Um, and unlike when one of the pieces of art we had submitted for the fairy tournament was
Mhm.
like Tinkerbell hitting a volleyball or something. And we're like, that's not quite the fairies of Arthurian legend. They're a little naughtier and meaner, and they're just a little more rough and tumble. So I told the artist, I'm like, I love it, and if we can use it in some way, we will. But
Mhm.
right now, I don't see it. That's not the direction we're going with that particular card. It's okay.
Mhm. Got it.
Um,
Got it. Yeah.
anyway, but the Fae would actually, the original set that we have tries to establish some pretty basic rules for the game.
Mhm.
I would say that it's not nearly as complicated as Magic was when it came out in '93.
Mhm.
Um, it is a bit more straightforward. Again, you don't have 5 colors. You're not trying to, we don't have that kind of stuff. We tried to keep the rules pretty straightforward for the first version of the game. The Fae, the intent is mess with the rules. So
Okay.
our goal there is to introduce things that are going to let you draw more cards, play more lands. Have to draw. You can have a hand size that's as big as you want.
Mhm.
The kinds of things that are unusual and
Mhm.
really kind of mess around with the mechanics of the game. And that
Mhm.
was the one thing that we didn't want to do with that first edition, was to do
Mhm.
anything that was going to make it difficult people understand. Like, oh, well, you can do this except in this case, or if this thing,
Mhm.
or it's a Tuesday, or we didn't
Mhm.
want to do anything like that. So this
Mhm.
next one is going to introduce some things that are going to play around with that. So that's one of the expansions. And we've got
Mhm.
ideas for several others
I see.
that are distant future.
Mhm.
If we can get Roundtable to a state where people are playing it, where it's up there with, say, a Flesh and Blood,
Mhm.
and people, there's a lot more interest in it, then we will definitely look at either Kickstartering or just directly funding
Mhm.
those next expansions. So.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So, as well, wrapping up today's interview, for our listener that would like to learn a little bit more about you and your company, where is the best place for people to find you online?
So our main website is nimuestudios.com, .com, NIMUE studios.com. And we can also go to roundtabletcg.com, and that'll take you to the same place. And we do have a Discord. It is very quiet. You're welcome to join it. There's a link to that from the website. The website has tons of articles about all things that we've been doing, blog posts and stuff, but it also has links to all of our socials. We are on YouTube, but we don't have much up there. We're working to try to see what we can do to improve our social media presence. It's just been slow. So again, it's not something we have a lot of skill at. And so a lot of it is learning on the fly. So
got it. Thank you very much for sharing it. And thank you so much for your time today, sharing your story, your journey, and your wisdom with the rest of the industry today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I realize it's been a while coming. So thank you for your patience in helping get this together.
Really, no problem. And thank you for our audience for tuning in to this episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. We really love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. It really helps us to grow and reach more to more toys and game creators like yourself. If you want to keep the conversation going, feel free to join our free Facebook community, Toys and Game Launchpad, where toys and game entrepreneurs connect, share ideas, and get some exclusive resources. You can check it out at toy-launch.com/group. For more tips, resources, and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Shay signing off on the Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.